Good morning. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word. I'm Barry Bryson, and we're continuing our study of the book of Hosea. We're entering the text of Hosea today, and I'm going to go ahead and read chapter 1. The word of the Lord which came to Hosea the son of Beeri during the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah, and during the days of Jeroboam, this is Jeroboam the second, son of Joash, king of Israel. When Yahweh first spoke through Hosea, the Lord, Yahweh, said to Hosea, "Go take to yourself a wife of harlotry, and have children of harlotry, for the land commits flagrant harlotry, forsaking the Lord." So he went and took Gomer, the daughter of Diblaim, and she conceived and bore him a son. And the Lord said to him, "Name him Jezreel, for yet a little while, and I will punish the house of Jehu for the bloodshed of Jezreel, and I will put an end to the kingdom of the house of Israel. And it will come about on that day that I will break the bow of Israel in the valley of Jezreel." And she conceived again and gave birth to a daughter. And the Lord said to him, "Name her Lo Rumah, for I will no longer have compassion on the house of Israel, that I should ever forgive them. But I will have compassion on the house of Judah, and deliver them by the Lord their God, by Yahweh their God, and will not deliver them by bow, sword, battle horses, or horsemen. When she had weaned Lo Rumah, she conceived and gave birth to a son. The Lord said, "Name him Lo Ami, for you are not my people, and I am not your God." So we're studying the three writing prophets that write to the northern kingdom, Hosea, Amos, and Jonah. We've already talked about Jonah because his story is not like the other two. He's a singularity. His was a narrative. Hosea's text is narrative. This chapter is narrative, but the rest is prophetic utterance. And most of the book, except for the last 9 or so verses, which are chapter 14, it's going to be the oracles of judgment, and then and God, um, uh, even himself processing his grief over the judgment that he's going to have to bring to bear. And so the destruction of the northern kingdom of Israel has been determined. It's going to happen. God is not going to relent in his decision to destroy the northern kingdom of Israel. And therefore, Hosea is very much a precursor to Jeremiah. Jeremiah and also the prophet Habakkuk, they find themselves in the same place. Habakkuk says at the end of Habakkuk, "I understand this is happening. I'm going to have to just wait for the armies of Babylon and shake in my boots." And Hosea finds himself in the same place. He's also much like Ezekiel in that he has to live his prophecy, and God is wronged by his people, and they have been unfaithful to him with Baal. And I haven't talked much about the Baal religion, the Baal cult. The Baal cult is a fertility cult. It's an agricultural cult. It's the ancient cult of the Canaanites, and it was introduced by um, Solomon's wives into Jewish culture, but its great proponent were Jezebel and Ahab, particularly Jezebel. In fact, Baal is in her name. Baal is the last part of her name. The Baal cult is a fertility cult. Baal is the god of the storm. His goddess is Asherah. She's the goddess of the earth. And people pray for the rain so that the rain can impregnate the earth and the earth can bring forth its produce. That's simply what it is. Because it is an agricultural cult and a fertility cult, there was a great deal of prostitution associated with it, cultic prostitution associated with the cult of Baal. Um, and and um, the notion was that when Baal observed his temple prostitutes having relations with men, that he himself would be aroused and then would send the rain to impregnate the earth. I mean, that's the Baal cult in a nutshell. and the Israelites, the people of the northern kingdom, this is their major religion. They have mingled it with the worship of Yahweh and with other religions, but their primary pursuit is the pursuit of Baal's favor, praying for rain, the pursuit of Baal's favor. This wife of harlotry, um, the word harlotry can just mean unfaithfulness. It doesn't have to mean prostitution, but it seems very clear from the rest of the text that it is a wife. We are talking about prostitution. Chapter 3, we're going to have another narrative section, and the price has to be paid. This is clearly, he's clearly purchased a prostitute, married her. He's married to her for some time, because she's there long enough to have 3 children, and the distance in time between the second and third child is at least 3 years. So they seem to be married five years or so before she leaves him, to go back to her prostitution. The names of everyone involved, they're important, and God uses the names to communicate. Um, Gomer means completion, and it's a man's name for this woman. We're given her father's name too, so she's not a metaphor for something. I mean, she is, but she's an actual woman that he's married to, and her name means completion. She gives 3 children. Oh, I mentioned that that's a man's name, all the way back to the book of Genesis, Genesis chapter 10, verse 2. Japheth had a son named Gomer, and that's the first time we read that name. Jezreel is a place. It's a very fertile valley. Jezreel means Yahweh sows. Yahweh's name is in the name Jezreel. Yahweh sows because it's a very fertile valley. But sowing can also mean harvesting, bringing to bear judgment, sowing seeds of judgment. That phrase is in the Battle Hymn of the Republic. Um, and that's what it means with this child. Some important things in their history had happened at Jezreel. Jezreel is where Naboth's vineyard was. And so we have the violence of Ahab against Naboth. But more predominantly, we're probably talking about what happens in 2 Kings chapter 9, verses 1 through 10, which is when the current kingly line, the Jehu dynasty, destroyed Ahab's sons and killed a lot of innocent people, even emissaries from Judah in the process. And so, to punish that violence, God is coming, and to bring judgment. So that's why Jezreel, the son, receives his name. Lo Ruma means no mercy. I'm not going to have mercy on my people anymore. The judgment is going to take place. And then Lo Ami, not my people. Is people. Ami is my people. Lo is no, or not my people. And this is a divorce formula. The marriage formula is you are my husband and you are my wife, and the divorce formula is I am not your husband, you are not my wife. And God is saying, you are not my people, I am not your God. He's divorcing himself from his people. And he's not going to bring them back, not the remnant that he's going to bring back for Judah. He makes that clear in verse 7. You're going to be scattered, and I'm not going to be able to deliver you whole as a people the way I'm going to deliver Judah when I send them into captivity later on. Anyway, so that's the hard message that God delivers, and it's the hard message that Hosea himself has to live. We're going to talk about verses beginning with verse 10, the prophetic utterance, next time. Thank you so much for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word.